Hey, what's up YouTube? I am back with another video, and today I want to talk about the 8 shifts that I made in my life and in my trading that took me from unprofitable trader to profitable trader. So let's get into it. Hi guys, my name's Courtney. I'm a Forex trader with over 8 years experience in the market, and today I want to address a question that myself and a lot of traders get asked, which is, what was the one thing that you did that made you profitable? The answer is there is no one thing, but when I do look back at my journey, there were definitely things that I started doing differently that took me from failing to breakthrough. And there were 8 things that I looked at that made all the difference. And I want to get into those things today. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content, and stick with this to the end because I think there's going to be a few things that surprise you. So step number 1, or shift number 1, was understanding the learning process. So when we are in school, we are taught to memorize facts. We are not taught how we learn. And that's actually harmful, because what we need to know is when we're learning any new skill, whether it be trading or whether it be something in sports, for example, we go through 5 stages of learning. And that begins with novice, advanced beginner, competent, proficient, expert. We have to graduate through those stages of learning to eventually get to a level of mastery. So when I was on my trading journey, about 6 years in, I felt like I'd hit a plateau. I couldn't figure out how to get to the next stage. My trading was stagnant, and I just thought it was my psychology, as a lot of traders do. But I was gifted a book that explained this learning process. And that was such a blessing, because what I understood is that I was actually at a competent level. However, I wasn't doing the necessary activities to take me from competent to proficient. And that was really important, because when I understood that I wasn't failing, I just needed to change my approach. For example, when you're competent, you need to start tapping into your right brain thinking, which is more intuitive. Naturally, I'm quite a logical person, I think, with my left brain. But knowing that I needed to start tapping into intuition really made all the difference for me. Now, it doesn't matter what stage of the journey you're at. What matters is knowing which stage of the journey you're at, because that will then dictate what you need to be doing in order to graduate to the next stage. Shift number 2 was rebuilding my technical edge. This was massive, and it was actually very humbling. At the end of 2023, I'm almost 6 years into my trading, and I had to look and say to myself, you don't really have an edge. And it was disheartening at the time, but it was such a huge step. Essentially, I knew how to trade, but I had to look and say, the results that I'm getting, I don't believe that I really have an edge that I can trust. So I had to dismantle my edge. I didn't completely change it. No, I am not advocating that you system hop, that you jump from strategy to strategy, because that won't get you anywhere. But sometimes you just have to go a little bit deeper into what you're doing. So I had to unlearn a lot of things, bad habits, and I had to relearn a lot of things and essentially go deeper into my edge. One of the things I realized is that I'm not a day trader. I'm not a swing trader, but I'm somewhere in between. And I stopped using the lower time frames so much, because that was the thing at the time, that what was trending on social media. And I realized that actually I'm a lot better using the higher time frames. That was a huge game changer for me. And I also realized that once I resolved the issues that I had with my edge, the psychology issues just resolved themselves. They kind of went away. So that's a huge thing. Shift number 3 was I started diving deeper into my data. I'm a firm believer that in trading, data is king. If you are not collecting data, you are on the wrong side of gambling. Data is everything. It's going to lead you to iteration. It's going to lead you to making breakthrough after breakthrough in your trading. I was lucky because the first mentor I had, I just learned to do this off the bat. I learned to track my trades. I learned to log it into spreadsheets and take screenshots, markups, all of those things. So it's a habit that I've had since the beginning. So I've got every trade that I've ever taken. The difference was that with the rise of AI, I was able to go so much deeper into this data. And last year I started using ChatGPT and Claude to do my quarterly reviews. So I do weekly reviews, monthly reviews, and quarterly reviews. Quarterly reviews are so in depth, but using ChatGPT and Claude as sort of like a data analyst to help me see things that I wasn't able to see on my own, help me to spot things, blind spots essentially in my business, was a game changer. I actually started taking less trades because what was revealed to me is that I was taking far too many valid trades, which was hurting my edge. So I reduced my frequency of trading, but my quality of trading went up, and that was a massive difference. So first thing to do is make sure you are recording your trades. Journal. There's software. You don't even need software. You can just create folders and make sure that you are taking note of every trade and keeping it in a spreadsheet in some shape or format. Shift number 4 was understanding that process is more important than results. We're always told to set big goals and to focus on the goals, but actually that's having it backwards. So where did this change come from? It came from reading Atomic Habits, which was again another gift given to me by my sister. And when I read that book, I really understood that I had been focused too much on outcomes. And Atomic Habits says that once you build the habits and the processes to change who you are, a natural byproduct of building those processes into your business is that you will get the results, you will get the outcomes that you want. So again, I took my business apart and rebuilt it with systems and processes, and that made all the difference. Now, processes are not the same as routines. Routine means you get up, you do such a thing at such and such a time, but processes means that you are doing weekly reviews, doing monthly reviews. One of the things that I started doing was daily report cards, making sure that I was journaling every day during my trading. And once you have these processes, you can then start to do a lot more reviews of what's working in your business and what's not. And that will lead you to leveling up in such a way where you don't actually realize it's happening at the time. Shift number 5, better sleep. Yeah, this was massive. Trading is a high cognitive performance activity. You are trading against people who are a lot smarter than you, have a lot more resources than you. So as retail traders, we have to get every edge possible, and sleep is one of them. I used to really believe in that whole grind culture and don't sleep and all of that. No, I don't believe in that anymore. Sleep deprivation will cause you to make slower decisions, less willpower, and reduced focus. And once I started tracking my sleep properly, I bought a Whoop band, as you can see, I've got on my wrist here. I realized that my sleep and recovery was positively correlated with my results. So naturally, I started taking it a lot more seriously. And if you don't have the funds to invest in something like an Aura ring or a Whoop band, I can tell you that just get as close to 7 to 8 hours of sleep each night. Try to go to bed at the same time. Try to wake up at the same time. And this will really improve your cognitive functioning. Trading is essentially all mental. So if you're not at your sharpest and you don't have the best clarity, then you are already behind. So better sleep will definitely help you increase your cognitive performance. Step number 6, or shift number 6, I changed my environment. Trading is a chaotic and complex environment. And it's the trader who brings balance, who brings steadiness, who brings calm to that environment. Now, if your external environment is also stressful and chaotic, like mine was for a long period, then it's really hard to try and bring that calmness to the charts. At the time, I looked at how I was living, and I was so stressed, and I was living in so much chaos that it was difficult for me to trade well. What happens is when you're in a chronic state of stress, the stress hormone cortisol starts flooding your body and flooding your brain, and it stops your prefrontal cortex from working, which is your thinking brain, and you are unable to think objectively, to think with clarity. And I made the decision to end a relationship which I don't think was the best environment for me to become a profitable trader. I moved house, I moved area, and once I got into a different environment, I was calm, I was centered, My clarity levels went through the roof and my trading changed. I understand this is not the easiest thing for people to do, but I'm just here to let you know that your external environment does matter when it comes to trading. Shift number 7. I made God the CEO of my business. For 6 years, I had left God and my faith out of trading. I understood the importance of God because He is at the center of who I am. But I had this false belief that He couldn't influence my business or my trading. How wrong am I? At the end of 24, I did a lot of soul searching and I asked God to come into my business. I asked God to be the CEO. Essentially what I did was I demoted myself and made myself a manager. I like to think of it better as a steward. So what this did is actually increased my patience, my humility, and my consistency. And I like to think of parable of the talents, which is the story about when a master went away and he gave each of his servants talents, which is an amount of money to manage. That means that God is the owner of everything. We are just given things, time, talents, resources, money to manage on His behalf. And once I understood that and I asked God, you direct me, you tell me the things that I need to do, where I need to go, who I should be working with, it just made everything better. And from that place, all the other decisions that I made were a lot more centered and I just had a sense of calmness. That was the biggest decision. That was the biggest shift out of all the others because from there, everything else flowed. Final one was long-term thinking. When I first started this journey in 2017, all I wanted to do was become a master at the craft. I wanted to become really good at something and something that I enjoyed doing. However, as trading evolved and social media became more prevalent, prop firms became more prevalent, I realized that I had changed from having a lot of patience in my trading to wanting to pass evaluations and comparing myself to other people on social media. I actually left social media for 3 years because of that. And I was just feeling always in a rush with my trading to make it, to break through. But once I again calmed down and I went back to the idea of mastery is the most important thing, it just centered me and I became a lot more patient and trusted the process. One scripture that always sticks with me is Proverbs 22:29, which says, "A man who is diligent in his craft shall stand before kings and not mean men," meaning that it's all about the skill. It's all about the diligence in what you do. And from there, the results will come. I found out actually from doing research that 98% of traders who pass a prop firm challenge lose it after 6 months. They lose their funding after 6 months. So don't believe everything that you see on social media. And that also should be a warning to make sure that the goal is not to pass prop firm challenges. The goal is to become a consistently profitable trader. From that place, you will pass challenges. From that place, you will get payouts. I think myself and a lot of traders are too focused thinking that the goal is to pass challenges. It's not. The goal is to become consistently profitable. So guys, so that's it. Some quick fire points that I made. 8 things that I shifted in my life and trading that led me to break through. Which of these things resonated with you most? Leave a comment in the comment section below. And if you'd like me to go into any more detail about any one of these things, again, leave a comment in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe. It will really help. And until next week, happy trading and all glory to God, guys.